Hi everyone, it's me Irene back again with a new video for class 11 computer science students with the topic multiple assignments in Python. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Let us also take our first step towards coding. Why wait? Let us jump into it. Before learning what are multiple assignments, we have to learn what are variables and assignments, how variables are created in a Python programming and how values are assigned to it. Now let us learn what are variables. Variables represent labeled storage locations whose values can be used and processed during the program run. In a Python programming, all the variables are represented as a labeled storage locations. These locations can be used and processed during the program run. Suppose if you want to create a variable in a Python programming, we have to assign the value of a desired type to the name of the variable. So what are the desired type? We have an integer type, floating point type, string type, all these types we have, right? So if you want to create a variable in a Python programming, we have to assign the value of a desired type to the name of the variable. Now let us see an example. So if you want to create a variable namely emph to hold the employee age, you can write it as emph equal to, you can give any desired value. I have given as 40. 40 is an integer data type. So this variable also it becomes a integer data type variable. So you can assign any desired value to the name of a variable. So the variable is created. Now the variable emph has been created by assigning the value. In a Python programming, we create a variable by assigning a value to it. So I have assigned the variable 40 to the variable emph. I have created a variable emph. Now when I create the variable emph and assign the value, what happens? How Python treats them internally, we must know. So whenever we create a variable, Python creates a label referring to these values. Let us see, I have created a variable called emph. So Python creates a label for this variable emph, and this label will be referencing the value where 40 is stored. I have stored the value 40. So number 40 will be stored in some of the memory location. This variable's label will be referencing the memory address where number 40 is stored. So this is what happens internally whenever we create a variable in a Python programming. Now let us learn what are multiple assignments. We have learned how variables are created in a Python programming. Variables are created by assigning values to it. Till now we have learned how to assign a single value to a single variable. Now let us see what are multiple assignments. How to assign multiple values to multiple variables, at the same time how to assign a single value to multiple variables. Now let us begin with the first example. Here you can see A equal to B equal to C equal to 10 is given. So we assign the value 10 to the variable C, and the value C whatever it holds, that has been assigned to the variable B, and the value whatever the variable B holds, that will be assigned to the variable A. So this is what happens. But Python, how does it treat this? Because we have learned whenever we create a variable in Python, it creates a label for these variables, and those labels will be referencing the memory address where the value is stored. Now this same value is being referenced by all these variables. So internally what does take place, we will see. So you can see in Python preloads the commonly used values in the memory location. That memory location is referred as front-loaded data space. So what is front-loaded data space? Normally Python preloads the commonly used values even before the variables are created in a memory. So this memory space is referred as front-loaded data space. Commonly used values number 1, 2, 3, 4 like that, right? All the commonly used integer values, most commonly all the integer values are stored in the front-loaded data space. This is some of the example. I have given 4 values, and also you must know one more thing. Each value has a specified memory location. You can see number 9 has a specified memory location. Number 10 has a specified memory location. Even 11 and 12, all these numbers, they have a specified memory location, and also they have a specified memory address also. Number 9 has a memory address, say 302. This is just for example, I have given a numbers. When you check in your computer in your Python coding, it will be of different numbers. So you have number 10. This number 10 also has some other different memory address, and number 11 also has a memory address as 342. Number 12 has a memory address as 356. So each and every value, it has a specified location as well as they have a specified memory address also. Now let us come into this. We have created A equal to B equal to C equal to 10. So already we have learned, whenever we create a variable, the label is being created for all the variables. So we have 3 variables. So for all these 3 variables, you can see the label has been created. For A there is a label created, and for B there is a label created, and for C also there is a label created. And all these labels will be referencing the value number 10, where number 10 is stored. Where number 10 is stored, it is stored in the memory location, say 324. So all these variables will be referencing the memory location where number 10 is stored. And also Python will keep a count of how many variables are referencing that particular value. This particular value has been referenced by 3 variables. That count also Python will be having it. So Python, it will have a count 3 variables are referencing this value 10. So this count also Python maintains it. So whenever you are assigning the same value to multiple variables, for all these variables the label has been created, and these labels will be referencing the memory address where the value is stored. Now let us consider the other example. A comma B comma C equal to 10 comma 11 comma 13 is given here. If you see this example, the multiple values are being assigned to the multiple variables. So when the multiple values are assigned to multiple variables, what happens? Let us see. The first value after the assignment operator, that will be assigned to the first variable, and the second value after the first value, that will be assigned to the second variable, and the third value will be assigned to the third variable. Now the values are being assigned to it internally. In Python, what happens? Let us see. Internally we have a front loaded data space for all the commonly used numbers, most commonly the integer numbers. So we have a front loaded data space. They have memory location. Each and every number has a memory location, and they have a memory address also. Now whenever we create a variable, a label will be created, and they will be referencing the memory address wherever the values are stored. So here for number A, we have assigned the value 10. So for A, there will be a label created, and that label will be referencing the memory address where number 10 is stored. Number 10 is stored in the memory address 302. So this label will be referencing the memory address 302. So for B, we have assigned with the value 11. So for B also there will be a label created, and it will be referencing the memory address 324 where number 11 is stored. So number 11 is stored in 324. That's why this label B, that will be referencing the memory address 324. For C, we have assigned the value 13. So for C, there will be a label created, and it will be referencing the memory address where number 13 is stored. Number 13 is stored in the memory address, say 356. So it is being referenced by the label C. So this is how the label is created, and they are referencing the memory addresses. And also Python keeps a count of all these variables, how many times they are referencing these values. Now number 10 is being referenced by only one variable, that's why it keeps a count as 1, and number 11 is referenced by only one variable, again the count is 1, and number 13 is being referenced by only one variable, that's why Python keeps a count as 1 1 1 like that. So this is how the multiple values are being assigned to the multiple variables. From this, what do we understand is literal values are having a fixed memory location, and variable names reference them as label. So we have learned in a previous example, we have a front loaded data space, and the values or literals, they are stored in the fixed memory location. Say 10 is stored in 302, and 11 is stored in 324, and 12 is stored in 342, and 13 is stored in 356. So whenever a variable is created and the label is created for these variables, and those labels will be referencing the memory address where these values are stored. So these values are stored in the fixed memory location. Our variables only, whenever we create, they are referencing those memory location wherever the values are stored. So we have understood the literal values are having a fixed location, and variable names only reference them as a label. Now let us consider this example and find the output of this. So you can see x comma y equal to 10 comma 20 is given as a first step, and print x comma y has been given. Already we have learned whenever we assign the multiple values, the first value will be assigned to the first variable and the second value will be assigned to the second variable. So x is being assigned with the value 10 and y is being assigned with the value 20. When we print x comma y, actually x holds the value 10 and y holds the value 20. So in the output we will be getting the output as 10 and 20. So you can see the output 10 space 20 has been printed as the output here. Now let us consider another example. Here we have x comma y equal to 10 comma 20. So the first value will be assigned to the first variable, second value will be assigned to the second variable. Now x holds 10 and y holds 20. In a second statement, if you see x comma y equal to y comma x is given. So what does y holds now? Y holds the value 20, and what does x holds the value? X holds the value called 10, right? So now the first value will be assigning to x and second value will be assigning to y. So what does x holds now? It holds 20. So when we print, 20 should be printed for x, and what does y holds now? It holds the value of 10. So for y the value 10 has to be printed. So as a output 20 space 10 will be printed. So you can see this is the output, 20 space 10 has been printed for this program code. Now, so while assigning values through multiple assignment, Python first evaluates the right hand side expressions and then assigns them to the left hand side. So when multiple assignments are there, on the right hand side, if you have any expressions, those expressions will be evaluated first and then it will be assigned to the variables on the left hand side. Let us see all these through the example. You can see here three variables a comma b comma c that has been assigned with the value 3 comma 5 comma 9. So a will be holding the value 3 and b will be holding the value number 5 and c will be holding the value number 9. So with this, let us just evaluate this expression. Here on the right hand side, if you see, we have got a lot of expressions. So this expressions let us evaluate now. Here the first one is a multiplied by 2. What is the value of a? It is 3. So 3 multiplied by 2 has to be evaluated in this place. And here second one, c plus 2. What is the value of c? That is 9. So 9 plus 2 we have to evaluate here. And the third expression is b multiplied by 3. So what is the value of b? That is number 5. So 5 multiplied by 3. So when we evaluate, 3 multiplied by 2 will be 6, 9 plus 2 will be 11, 5 multiplied by 3 will be 15. So the first value will be assigned to the variable b and the second value 11 will be assigned to the variable c and the third value 15 will be assigned to the variable a, right? So now b, c, a, they all hold a value. Those values let us print it. A has a value 15 and b has a value called 6 and c has a value called 11. So when we print the output, 15 space 6 space 11 will be printed as the answer. So now let us see, 15 space 6 space 11 has been printed as the answer. Now let us move on to the next example. You can see here x comma y comma z that has been assigned with 4 comma 2 comma 2. So now x will be assigned with the value 4 and y will be assigned with the value 2 and z also will be assigned with the value 2. Now let us move on to the next statement. So x multiplied by 2, again x multiplied by 2, then x minus 2. So the value of x is actually 4. So 4 multiplied by 2, again x is 4, 4 multiplied by 2 and then here x is 4 and then y is 2. So 4 multiplied by 2 will be 8, again 4 multiplied by 2 will be 8 and then 4 minus 2 will be 2. So these values have to be assigned here. So x will be assigned with the value 8, y will be assigned with the value 8 again and z will be assigned with the value number 2. So here x, y, z we have to print it. value of x is 8 and value of y is also 8 and value of z is number 2. So when we print this output, 8 space number 2 will be printed as the answer. So we can see the output 8 space number 2 has been printed as the answer. So this is how the multiple assignment happens, and we evaluate the expressions on the right hand side and then we assign to the variable on the left hand side. Now we have come to the end of this session, recapitulation. So we have learned in this session what are variables, how multiple assignment takes place in a Python programming. So variables represent label storage location whose values can be used and processed during the program run. And in Python, variables are created by assigning values to it, we have learned. And also, while assigning values through multiple assignments, Python first evaluates the right hand side expressions and then assigns them to the left hand side. So these are the things we have learned in this session. We have come to the end of this session. In this session, we have learned about variables and multiple assignments. In the coming videos, let us learn about simple input and output in a Python programming. Until then, bye from Irene. Stay tuned.